When I started writing about Montreal's economy, I didn't think I'd be talking so much about growth. But now, after years of stagnation, GDP is rising faster than projections, unemployment rates are dropping, and incomes are starting to rise. Why? Well, to find the answer, experts say you've got to look back to 1997. That's when the government started a program to attract multimedia companies, video game developers, internet businesses to Quebec and to Montreal. And it was pretty controversial at the time. After all, the commercial internet was only about 2 years old. And while the program has changed over the years, it's largely remained intact and appears to have been pretty successful. Back then, only about 3,000 people worked in the entire multimedia industry in Montreal. Nowadays, 3,000 people work at video game developer Ubisoft alone. But that's not all. Business leaders like to talk about confidence. They say Montreal is more confident now. That's leading to investment and hiring. So why is that happening? Well, that has to do with the reasons for Montreal's economic decline that started in the mid-1970s. The FLQ crisis, the election of the first PQ government, Bill 101, has created a lot of uncertainty for Montreal's future, particularly amongst the Anglophone business elite. But a lot has changed since then. A new generation of business leaders, francophone but bilingual, are in place, and Quebec's politics have changed a lot over the past 23 years. But things aren't perfect. See, Montreal is growing faster than it ever has, but many other large North American cities are also growing fast. Wages for skilled professionals in Montreal are still lower than in many comparable cities. Our unemployment rate is lower than Toronto's, but it's still higher than Vancouver's, and it's still higher than many US cities. And even though we've built our current period of economic growth on having a large pool of skilled, educated workers, the percentage of Montrealers with university degrees remains lower than the percentage in many comparable US and Canadian cities, especially cities like Boston and San Francisco. This is a problem because Quebec has one of the oldest populations in Canada. Over the past 2 years, more people have retired than entered the workforce, according to one employers group, and this is leading to labor shortages. If we don't have workers, we won't have the tax base to pay for services for our aging population, and if employers can't find labor, well, they're going to leave. So what can be done? Well, Montreal can do a better job of integrating immigrants into the workforce. It's something we're particularly bad at. We may have to set up programs to encourage more older people to return to work, perhaps on a part-time basis. And we need to do more to encourage women to work more and rise through the corporate ladder. But there's another problem on the horizon, and it might be the biggest problem, and it's the one that we have the least control over. Montreal, like the rest of Canada, has based its economy largely on trade. And our relationship with our largest trading partner is now more uncertain than ever.